Hey everyone, Craig Williams here, back with another video. In this video I'm going to show you how I made a stab synth in Silent. I got asked by one of the subscribers if I could show him how to make it, so this is the video. And for you guys that haven't seen the previous video, the synth that I'm going to show you how to make is in this new track that I've made that should be getting released very soon. So here's a listen. Just be aware that there's multiple stabs playing, but you'll be able to get the feel of what I am going to be shooting for. Oop, and so there you go, and there's a little bit of a snippet. Hopefully you guys gives you a bit of a teaser and you might look out for it in the future. So here's the synth by itself. And let's get into it. So for this all you're going to need is Silent, the built-in Logic plugins, but you can use plugins from Ableton or whatever. And again, Camel Fat, which you've probably seen in the last couple of tutorials I've used a number of times. So start off, new software instrument. I'm just going to sort of fly through this so I get it in under the time so we don't have to split the video up at all. Bring it up and come down, and you want to initialize a preset. It gives you a blank canvas to start the synth. That will just sound like that. First up, we want to concentrate on the first two oscillators here. Want to bring down by an octave, and that's pretty much about it for that one. Come over to the second one, down by an octave, but then you want to bring it up 7, make it to a sawtooth, and just voices over to 2, and just bring the phase around. Phase would, you can start to hear the sound change as I play it and move it around there. You just want that around, just around about 230 mark there. The envelope, want to bring it down a little bit, bring the decay up a little bit, and the release up a little bit. Obviously just play around with these to how you need them, but you'll hear later on as we start to add the filter and the other envelopes, you'll start to hear the sound come through a little bit more. Then on to part B. Again, just one voice, sawtooth, and down two octaves, not 3. Start to hear it thickening up a little bit, and you just want to bring the volume down on that one a little bit there. And then for the envelope, sustain all the way down, decay up just below halfway, and then the release. Again, just play around with these so get the sound that you want. Back over to part A, and go over to the filter envelope. Want a low pass, want to bring the cutoff down, and that's about it. For the overall control, we just want to bring that down a little bit, and that's about it. For part B, got part B here, again, low pass, bring the cutoff down to reasonably about the same spot, just in the ballpark will do. Then we go down to the envelopes here. Want this one to be cut off A, around to about 230 mark. Bring decay up So you start to get that a little bit more stabby sound there, and the release just up a little bit. Again, play with these all these controls to get the sound that you want. And this one, cut off B, round to about the 3 o'clock. Start to hear the bassy sort of sound come in. Bring up the release a little bit. And that's about it for that. Next up, we're going to concentrate over here for velocity. Cut off A and B. And you want to bring this around to like the 1:32 o'clock mark. Start to hear it already. It's not going to hear it as much because obviously using my keyboard is not going to be velocity sensitive, but when you use your keyboards at home, like your proper MIDI keyboards, you'll get good control on this. And then just a resonance, just give it a little bit. Next up, some things you can do to it to add a little bit more is add a little bit of EQ. Gives it a little bit more bite. Just sweep through for where you want the sound, and then just knock it back a bit. So no need to boost the crap out of any frequencies that you don't want, sort of thing. And here you could also add a reverb. Which might be able to hear just in the background there. For now, we'll just keep it off. Next up, what you want to do is, or what I've done for mine, you can do whatever you want, is add a EQ. You can see we've got a lot of in the bass there, so all I did was just low cut it, just to add room for the actual bass in your tracks and the kick and whatnot, and then just boosted around 1200 and just you can hear add just that little bite for the attack there. Next up, this is where I added my reverb, and I just go with the platinum verb. It's not very heavy on the CPU, so you can use a bunch of them throughout your tracks. This sounds like this straight up, so some things I did was I just took the initial delay and pre-delay off, and I brought the wet down to 18. You can start to hear that come through a little bit more. And last but not least, I added the Campbell Fat. Took the EQ off, I took the LFO off. Took the filter off, made sure the volume is at full, and I just added a little bit of distortion on each of the parameters here. You definitely don't want to overdo it with this. You can start to hear it's coming through a lot louder there. Bring the volume down. And just brought up the release on the compressor a bit. You start to hear it's a lot more bitey and punchy there. Other things you can do is I've already got set up on my return channels. I've got a delay, so added like a little bit of delay. Helps trail the sound off a little bit more, and to thicken up the sound a bit, you could add a chorus. Of course, you could go in here and then add the chorus on here. It's just whatever you like doing, sort of thing, and what you feel comfortable with. Another thing you can do is, instead of running the reverb here, you can send the you can send it to its own reverb. So it would be a send and return reverb as rather than an insert. So I've already got this one set up here. And then just to show you for demonstration purposes, we'll go full. So you can see the reverb coming through. And then another thing you can do is send it to a bus for a trigger. Make that full. It's got it set to no output. And then you go over to the compressor here. And then I've set it up as a sidechain. And then I've got the bus as bus 12, which is the trigger. So the reverb will only come on after the compressor has released. So I'll show you for demonstration purposes. You can hear that there's no reverb at the start, and then as the release comes down, you see the gain reduction reduce, the reverb comes on. So obviously these are really extreme values, but you can go along and play with how much you want to get a really nice tight reverb sound. So the initial sound is not affected by any reverb, it's not going to get washed out, but then as the compressor releases, you're going to get a nice reverb tail. There you go, you can all just play around. So there you go. I know it was just sort of barreled through super quick. Hopefully you guys can just pause the video and just follow along at home. And hopefully you got something out of it. Until next time, see you later.